everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the Collider Games podcast. My name's Dennis Den. I'm in studio with...
What's up, guys? It's your boy, Dorian.
And we also got on, through the magic of Skype, Caboose. Caboose, how are you?
Doing good.
Doing good. Yeah.
Talk some more games.
Yeah, definitely. So, let's get right into it. There's a lot of Microsoft news that happened this past week. There's actually three different things we're going to cover. So the first thing is that there's a report that came out that says that Microsoft will be unveiling not one, but two new Xbox hardware platforms at E3. And that Halo Infinite will be basically a launch title for the next generation and not for this current generation. What's your first thought about that, Caboose?
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to expect that now. Looking back at the way Halo Infinite was revealed and how vague everything was, it seemed like that trailer was made simply for the purpose of just letting people know, hey, a Halo game is in development. And then now we've been hearing a little bit coming from people over at 343 that they're really taking their time with this one because much to Halo 4 and Halo Guardians detriment, they had a time crunch. They had to meet a date with those games, and those games suffered because of it. So I think what they're trying to do with Halo Infinite is really take their time with it, make sure that they got the right game coming here, and based on the way everything is looking, yeah, it seems that will be when the new consoles are unveiled for Microsoft, and I'm excited to see whatever Microsoft's got in store. You know, I think it's codenamed Anaconda, which sounds cool, and a lot of people really the Xbox One X is a super underrated console. I know that in this quote unquote war between PlayStation and Xbox, PlayStation has won. The PS4 is the better console in terms of sales, in terms of exclusives, in terms of just overall performance. The PlayStation has won the console war. But I think that a lot of people crap on the Xbox, undeservedly so. It's a great console. The games on the One X look their best on any of the consoles that isn't technically a PC. So any game that you want to play and run it looking its best, if you don't have a PC, the One X is the way to go. And overall, like the interface, the friend system,
the interface
system, it's all really, really good. It's super underrated. So I hope people come around when they show off this new Xbox, and I hope that Microsoft is really going to bring the big guns with E3 this year, because they definitely have a lot of catching up to do in terms of winning over the general audiences. Yeah,
and to your point, Caboose, before I actually got a Xbox One X, I was one of those people just crapping before even playing it, just crapping on it, just being like, why would you even do that? It's PS4 is where it's at. But now that I can say unless it's a PS4 exclusive, I prefer to have my video games on the Xbox One X because it looks better and just it feels better to play. But with that, I think in the report it said that there's going to be two, like one of them is going to be just for the general audience, and then for the hardcore gamers, like if you're trying to really rev up your gameplay, then the second one will be for you. So I'm excited to see what they do with that. But the main thing with it is the Halo Infinite. I think it said it's going to be like a spiritual reboot. Yeah. So I'm kind of excited for that because I haven't played any Halo games. So I'm thinking maybe I wait until this one comes and then jump. Don't wait. Okay.
You should play it, especially because they remastered them. I could understand if Halo, the original Halo was on the original Xbox, and obviously those graphics are dated. But now with the remaster, I think it's okay, you can still play the first one. The first one's a classic. I definitely would recommend co-op play. It's still fun playing single player, but co-op is so much fun when one guy is driving the Warthog and one person is shooting the machine gun. Okay. It's pretty awesome.
Wait, Caboose, don't you have it?
Yeah, I have the Master Chief Collection and everything.
All right, we'll play it because we and Caboose played Anthem, and I know we'll talk about it later, but we played Anthem, and then we played it on Twitch. We were doing co-op, so it was fun, but we got into a heated argument about parts.
I saw that. I was on Twitch. I was making comments. So it's going to be interesting that they're going to release two. They're saying this will be probably the end of 2020 is when the console will actually be released. They'll announce it. This E3,
which is what we were kind of expecting.
Yeah, especially for Microsoft, because look, they can only benefit by releasing early before PlayStation because they did lose this generation, so they need a head start. Interesting thing in this report too, they're talking about Ninja Theory, one of the new studios that Microsoft purchased for these exclusive games. They're going to be releasing a game, but it's going to be not on this new generation. It's for the Xbox One. It's going to come out early 2020. So, the system's not going to come out until end of 2020, which we assume Halo is going to be a launch title for. So, that's
and I assume any games that are planned for 2020 will probably, if they're coming out on the Xbox One, will probably still re-release on the next gen console as well.
Yeah. And then also they're talking about how they actually aren't going to talk about pricing at E3. Like they're just going to say, here's the weaker console. I'm sure they're not going to say weaker. They'll say this is the standard one, and then here's the enhanced version, if you want to pay X amount of dollars for, and they've been talking about like a streaming only console where it's not, or not streaming only, but no discless. Blu-ray, discless thing. So Microsoft, it's going to be a very big next 2 years for them to see if they can get back into that race, because obviously PS5 or whatever is not going to be announced at E3 this year because they're not going to E3 this year.
And I was going to ask you, Dennis, do you think that that's why they're not going to reveal a price just yet on the Xbox?
I think so.
Maybe they're going to wait to hear what's coming from PlayStation before they let people know what they want to price their console at?
Yeah, because remember, they got hurt last time when they were, $100 more expensive?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is, even though, you play these games, for a long, long time, there's something about plopping down X amount of dollars. Like 300 versus 400 and 5. Didn't Xbox One launch at 500 or something like that?
It was 500.
Yeah. So 400 seems to be the breaking point for people. People are like, okay, I'll do 400, but I'm not paying more than that. I mean, it's one thing if you're doing like this where it's like two different hardware, so you can buy the regular one for, let's say, 400.
Yeah.
And then they'll release whatever the souped up version for 500 or 600, and whoever wants to get that will get that, but you can still get a good experience with the 4. Who knows if it'll be successful or not, but they definitely know that they need to focus on games this time. Because that was the thing that they lost this generation, is they didn't have the exclusives. I mean, how many Halo and Gears of War games came out for this particular generation of
we had Halo 5, we had Gears 4, and honestly, that's the Xbox exclusives were a dime a dozen. You really couldn't find too many.
I remember when I first got my Xbox, we put out a poll, like you and Joey put out a poll, like which Xbox exclusive should he play first, and the poll was very scarce, and there was only the same responses for the same couple. Yeah,
it's like Halo, Gears, and then I guess if you're into racing, the Forza racing game.
No, I'm good.
I think we had Sunset Overdrive in there, which that was pretty cool. Yeah. That was coming from Insomniac. Shout out to them. They made Spider-Man inevitably. Jumped over to PlayStation. And then and then we recently had Crackdown 3 release. But the thing about a lot of the exclusives, especially in the later half of the run for Xbox One, is they were doing the Play Anywhere thing, where you can get a game that's technically an Xbox exclusive, but you can also have it downloaded onto your PC. You can get it on your Windows PC. Yeah. So you can do that with Crackdown 3, I believe, which is pretty cool. I think that's a nice little feature to have.
Yeah, I know certain games had that as well. So Dorian had mentioned before, Ryan McCaffrey from 343 Industries, he sat down and talked with IGN, and in that he kind of mentioned that this next Halo, which is coming out for the next generation console, is going to be kind of a spiritual reboot. So I'm wondering what that exactly entails, because if he's saying spiritual, that means still the canon of the story is still there, but the way that they're approaching the game is going to be different in terms of, I know one of the things they were mentioning is keeping the split screen multiplayer,
Yep.
you know, that
Yep.
type of stuff. So I'm wondering what else is involved in this spiritual reboot. Well,
I guess from their perspective, it does mean. I mean, I think they want to shy away from basically saying what everyone knows Halo Infinite is going to be, and that is just going back to classic Halo. Halo 3, Halo 2, Halo. Not what we got with Halo 4, not what we got with Halo 5. Just going back to what everyone has known and loved from this franchise. I don't think they want to say specifically like, we're going back to the classics. So they're saying something like spiritual reboot because, yes, ever since 343 has taken over with Halo 4, and since then, they haven't necessarily had the best of success in captivating both an audience who is a big fan of the Halo franchise and an audience who's being introduced to the Halo franchise. So with this new one, they're just treading old ground and going back to basics while probably innovating in some way. So in that, it's a spiritual reboot. We all kind of knew, especially from the moment they showed Master Chief's helmet in Halo Infinite, and it was the classic design of Master Chief that we had in Halo 3 and Halo 2. That's when we all knew, okay, we're going back to the basics here, because that was a big problem. That was a big change where people were like, man, we're really going in a different direction here, where in Halo 4 and Halo 5, Master Chief had a completely new design, like completely different from what he had in any of the previous Halo games. So once we saw that classic Master Chief helmet in that Halo Infinite trailer, everyone got that idea that, hey, we're going back to the basics here. And I guess their way of wording that is spiritual reboot.
And I think that's a smart way to approach it, especially like how you said, if you're a person that hasn't played the Halo games, or you haven't got an Xbox, but you know they're releasing it for the new consoles, like maybe this can get you hyped. Like, okay, I don't necessarily have to go back and jump back and go to the other games. Like, I can still play this game. I won't like, they can throw in some Easter egg, let people know like what's going on if you have played the other games, but if you haven't, you could still understand the basic concept. So I think it's a smart way to approach it, where you're not like cutting off those potential fans that might not have any idea with it. And it's smart too, because you have the Halo TV series as well, so you have that you can use as a marketing tool for people who might have not even thought about it, but they're like, oh, we got a new TV show. This TV show looks pretty dope. Let me go see.
Or a resurgence too. Like if you had fallen, let's say you had fallen off of Halo, maybe the last Halo you played was Halo 3 or something like that, and then you hadn't played it in a while. Maybe that TV show sparks your interest. You know what? I remember having a good time playing Halo. Let me check out what's new.
The new one, So I think that's the right move, because it's got like, just from what he's saying, like I like Dennis say, I need to go back and play the other ones, but I'm excited to see what this one brings without me having to go back and like how you are talking about the 4 and 5. But I'll definitely go back and play the first one, see what that's about.
What do you think was lacking, Caboose, in 4 and 5 that 343 didn't do that Bungie did do?
It wasn't what was lacking. It was how different and how new they were trying to make it. With Halo 4, they really tried to Call of Duty it. Yeah. They were like, you can create your own loadout now. There's essentially kill streaks where you get an X amount of kills and you can call in like an ordnance package. And then in Halo 5, they really took that to the next level. You can sprint now no matter what in the game. That was always an ability available. You could have like this jetpack that boosted you in different directions, clambering. There was like a million new things that they were adding. And I think that was the problem. Halo was always at its core, you had a set movement speed and you had a set amount of health, and the weapons and your skill was where the gameplay made its most fun. You know, it was up to you to be able to take down your opponent. It didn't have to do with how quickly can you jump around and move around the map. You know, can you climb up into this ridiculous spot so that you can have the height against your opponent?
Or get a good loadout package or something like that.
Exactly. Or get like an ordnance package that got you some awesome thing to call in or something. It was never up to that. You know, you always had to rely on your skill and understanding of the map so that you can know, hey, the overshield spawns here, the rocket launcher spawns here, and that's what's going to help give me the upper edge. And they kind of removed that in Halo 5 and in Halo 4. And people take note of that. When we're so used to one specific style of a game, and not to the point where we like the game, but considering Halo 3, probably one of the most beloved FPSs of all time, still to this day.
Oh, yeah. It's my favorite Halo is Halo 3.
Right. So when you flip that completely on its head, people aren't just going to be like, cool, let's give it a go. It's going to be really jarring, and it's going to be hard to keep up to pace. And it especially was difficult where after Halo 4, everyone complained and was like, this is way too different. Halo 5 came along and just started to become even more different. So just go back to basics. Let's get back to what made Halo 3 good and use that as the template, the foundation for what we can build here for Halo Infinite.
All right. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that, obviously. We have to wait a little longer than we thought, but it is for the next system. I'm hoping that, you know, obviously when you do a launch of a new console, you got to show some games. I mean, you've got to show 100%. Gameplay from Halo. You got to show what the hell Gears is doing. I mean, I know Gears is, that one's coming on Xbox One. But maybe they'll have something else. I don't know. But they you know, they bought all these other studios, so they should definitely have some stuff at least previewed. Maybe not playable demos, but at least some sort of visual demo.
Something.
Yeah. Don't tell us like, well, we got this one cool game coming. It's like, no, you got to show us this cool game. So, all right. Another related topic is that there's a report that Xbox to start publishing games on Nintendo Switch. So they want to start publishing some first-party games on Nintendo Switch. I think they said starting with Ori and the Will of the Wisps, those two games, and then also maybe Xbox Game Pass coming to Nintendo.
Bro, yeah. They're really, Nintendo is really trying to make me get a Nintendo Switch. Like they're doing these past few months. It's just been like, buy this Switch, like buy the Switch. Every couple like weeks, it seems like they're dropping something new to make me want to get in. And now with Pokemon Sword and Shield, I'm definitely getting it. But yeah, with this Game Pass, it seems like their relationship, Microsoft and Nintendo, is just getting closer and closer. Like if they're willing to do Game Pass, like I already have Game Pass on mine. So if we're really getting that, like if you're able to if I'm able to take some of the games from my home to like
play it on Switch,
it's ridiculous. It's interesting to see what they'll do, like what Sony will do, like how to compete with this. Because I'm thinking if I'm Sony, we need to do like a rebrand or remodel of the PSP and try to like push that out to compete with this. Because now it seems like they're getting left out in the dirt. So if I was Sony, I'd be like, hey, let's bring back the PSP. Because I personally think the PSP and the PSP Go and all that were ahead of its time. Like I have one, I have mine still, but I think it was way ahead of its time. So it's going to be interesting to see how Sony tries to compete with this. If Xbox is doing portable games now, that people are able to take their games everywhere, and like Sony's like, hey, what are we gonna do? Like people like want to, like people are gonna be like, hey, Sony, I want to play Spider-Man, fam. I want to play, if I'm able to play these games on my Xbox, I want to play Spider-Man on the go too. So I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Yeah, it seems like Nintendo and Microsoft are partnering up for certain things. I know with the crossplay with Fortnite before Sony went on board, Microsoft and Nintendo already agreed to it, and so it just seems like, I don't know if it's because of the positioning of Sony being number one, and so Nintendo and Microsoft have to do something about it. And also, I think Nintendo and Microsoft, yes, they are both in the video game space, but they definitely are two different markets of the space. Also, Microsoft, because I follow a lot of Microsoft stuff, and I know the company as a whole, with Satya Nadella as the new CEO when he took over for Ballmer, their focus is actually not about back in the 80s and 90s. It was about like dominating the competition and like making it so like you could only do things on the PC, and it was all whatever. But now they've kind of broadened their things out where like they don't mind having their products like, okay, Microsoft Office, they don't care if it's on a PC, a Mac, an Android phone, an iPhone. They don't care, especially after they had lost the smartphone battle after they purchased Nokia, and then it never panned out. So they basically gave that up, and they're like, look, we just want our product everywhere. Yeah. And so I think this is part of that philosophy, is like, well, we have our games on our console, but here's an avenue that we can publish over here. We'll do it. So I think that's a new way of thinking, and we'll see if that actually does them any good.
And it'd be interesting to see like if they put Game Pass on the Nintendo Switch, and some of the consumers are like, oh wait, this game is dope. I would imagine what it looks like to see on a big screen and play that way, or maybe like it entices them to go actually get an Xbox because of the games that they're getting on the Switch. And so it's just I see it working out for both parties, like a beneficial way to, because I now want to get a Nintendo Switch just because of this.
Yeah. I like this. I like this that Microsoft is really trying to play with everyone. You know, they really of this idea that when everyone plays, everyone wins, basically. And so they're trying to be as inclusive as possible. They want to work with Nintendo, it seems, to both publish some games on the Switch as well as get Game Pass up there, which would be huge. That would be a ridiculously huge partnership between Microsoft and Nintendo. And I would be really happy to see it. You know, just the idea of, you know, putting the competition aside and just working together, we win in the end through that. And so hopefully Sony takes note of it and is like, maybe we should get on that fun as well. I'm so happy that enough people yelled and screamed about crossplay to the point where we have the ability now on both games like Fortnite and Rocket League to jump on and play with people on the PlayStation if we're on an Xbox. And while we're at it, get someone on the PC in there as well. That is fantastic. And I hope that in the future of gaming, more of that begins to happen and more of that begins to be a regular occurrence for games that have that online capability. I'm waiting on Apex Legends. I'm waiting on Apex Legends to get in on that fun. Like, just at least let's start with PC and console crossplay, because that seems to be a non-issue ever with most of these games. So let's start there and see if we can get to a point where I can play Apex Legends with my PS4 buddies or something.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you, me, and Dorian are playing Apex Legends on Xbox, and Jack has it on PS4, and then
there you go.
So the only time he gets to hop on with us is when he comes to the office and hops onto one of the Xboxes at the office. So, it's interesting. We talked about this before about, you know, you see Amazon wants to do their own kind of Game Pass streaming service. You see Apple, rumors of Apple also wanting to do it. And I think Microsoft is saying, like, look, the way that video games are going to be, I guess, played in the future is going to be a lot different. It's the same thing with Netflix. Netflix used to be a DVD borrowing service where they mailed DVDs to you, and they saw the future was in streaming.
And now they're winning Oscars.
Yeah, now they're winning Oscars, and they're worth, you know, how many billions of dollars. And so this, I think, is probably one of those next steps. Is Gamer Pass is something where Microsoft's like, you know, in the future there may not be consoles anymore, or the console is irrelevant, and it's the gaming subscription that's the, you know, what's worth the money. But then, you know, then we get into the problem where, okay, it's even worse, where it's like, okay, you're not beholden to any console anymore to play a game, but you're maybe beholden to a subscription service, like the way that if you want to watch, you know, originally before with like the Marvel Netflix shows, you can only subscribe to Netflix, and then for Hulu, if you want to watch like Handmaid's Tale or Amazon Prime for Marvelous Miss Maisel, you have to subscribe to that. So I'm wondering in the future there's gonna be like, okay, you have to subscribe to the Microsoft Xbox Gamer one to get Halo, but then if you want to play Last of Us Part 3, Part 4, then you gotta have the Sony one. Whatever. It's gonna be a very interesting next. I'd say not this generation, next generation, but probably the generation after that. Where we're gonna
like
land.
A good 10 years down the line, I wonder where we're gonna be at in terms of the way games are being consumed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. All right, moving on to the next topic. Borderlands 3. It's being teased by Gearbox. Caboose, you did a video on this. Why don't you give us the lowdown on this?
Right. So Gearbox is going to be having a presentation at PAX East later this month. I'm actually going to be at PAX East, which is awesome. And let me just pull up the site here and go to the schedule, because basically in their little description for their presentation, it seems like they're teasing that they're going to have a big announcement. So this is the official description for their scheduled main theater show on Thursday, March 28th. This is from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern, which I think is 11 to noon for you guys. So this is the description. It reads here. This is your opportunity to get a behind-the-scenes look at Gearbox Software and Gearbox Publishing, along with the latest news and updates from the makers of Borderlands, Battleborn, Brothers in Arms, and more. We will have never-before-seen reveals, exclusives, and surprises, so don't miss out. It sounds like we are getting a tease here, hopefully, for Borderlands 3, and I'm crossing my fingers that ends up being the case. I am such a big fan of the Borderlands franchise. Borderlands 2 and Tales from the Borderlands are some of my favorite games of all time. I'm not even kidding. And it is definitely, this Borderlands franchise is definitely the shining example of a shooter-looter game done right. It is so good, so fun, and it has a great story. Cannot wait for Borderlands 3. It's almost inevitable at this point that it is happening. I just hope that it's going to be revealed at the end of this month here with PAX East.
Yeah, when I played, because I played both Borderlands 1 and 2, I didn't quite get into it like I do some other games, maybe because I didn't at the time I didn't realize it was supposed to be a shooter-looter game. Like, I was expecting more, because like a lot of the story stuff was like, you go somewhere and you talk to someone, but it was all text. There was no voiceover and whatever. I can't remember if they changed that for the second one, but I know the first one it was all text, and it's like it didn't.
The second one definitely had more of a story.
Okay, and so like I just couldn't get into it, but I know a lot of people who love it and love getting the different loot and getting the different weapons and whatnot, and so this is a much beloved series. They also had they're coming out with like a VR version of I think Borderlands 2.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's something to watch out for. Doran, did you ever play Borderlands?
See, that's what I was about to say. I'm on your boat. I played the first one. I personally didn't like it at all. I started playing from the beginning, and I guess I just wasn't familiar with at the time, like just the way, I don't know, the characters moved and like the text and all that. So I returned it. But now, I know, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of crap for it because now you're making it sound like I should go back and give it another try. But yeah, I never got into the franchise like full-heartedly. But if you're hyping it up, maybe I'm older, I'm wiser now. I'm willing to give it a chance. So maybe I'll go back and test it out and come back with a report. But right now, I'm not the biggest Borderlands fan.
I'll tell you what is so good about Borderlands, and this is why I think it's one of the best shooter looters, is because I'll agree. When you run through kind of the main story, especially in Borderlands 1, Borderlands 1 is a little more
and by yourself too.
Right, by yourself. Borderlands 1 is a little more bare bones than the second one. But when you run through the main story, you really only get a taste for how crazy things can get. A lot of the DLC that came out for Borderlands 1 had some of the best endgame content I've played in a shooter looter. There are crazy bosses that you fight and face off against where you can get some ridiculous cool loot. And there was like 10 times the amount of that in Borderlands 2. Then there's the pre-sequel, which was technically the third game. I think that was just okay. That game was not very beloved by most. People still like and prefer Borderlands 2 over that. But more Borderlands for me is exactly what I want. I've been hearing and listening to a lot of teases and hints from Gearbox for a long while now that it's in development and it's happening. We just haven't officially seen it yet. So fingers crossed that this is the opportunity. And honestly, maybe you guys won't even need to jump back to the old ones. This might be a good starting point to get into Borderlands 3 when we have this come out. But if you do plan to get into the old ones, there is the Handsome Collection, which is the not remastered, but updated versions of the original trilogy. So I would suggest picking that up.
I think I'm going to play Tales of the Borderland first, even though it's totally different.
Yeah, it's Telltale game.
And then if that gets me into the story and the world of Borderlands, then maybe I'll hop back in and check it out. Maybe just start with 2 instead of
if you do
1.
care a lot about the story, though, I will tell you, Dennis, Tales from the Borderlands takes place after Borderlands 2.
Okay.
So it does spoil some of the events of the story of Borderlands 2.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Next story is that Cyberpunk 2077 will be at E3 this year. There had been a lot of speculation whether they will or they won't, and their Twitter account said, for those of you asking, yes, we will be at E3 this year. This is one of my most anticipated games of the year. And, it's a game I remember that it's been, talked about for a long time.
Yeah.
People are hoping that they give a release date and that it's, at the end of this year, but who knows? But Cyberpunk 27 it's like one of those things where they keep like at Comic-Con sometimes there's like a movie they keep talking about but doesn't get made, and they'll like show a little thing of it, and then like they keep coming back over and over again. It's like, well, just wait till the movie is ready to get released before you come back. So this is one of those things where it's like, look, okay, it's very cool they're coming at E3. Just give us a release date and make it like either the end of this year or early 2020. Because then if you're just going to be like, okay, here's some cool new game footage. We don't know when it's coming out. It's like people are going to get excited and then disappointed again. Either one of you excited for this game?
Yeah, I'm very excited for Cyberpunk 2077. The gameplay that they showed, that really extended demo.
It's like 40 minutes, 48 minutes.
It looks insane. This is going to be really ambitious, but if there is any developer that I would put full faith in, it's CD Projekt Red. So I'm super excited about this. I think they probably will give us a release date at this, whatever they show during E3 this year. And I am starting to think, I just don't know why, I got a weird hunch that it might not be coming out this year. Save it for next year. I haven't heard anything. It's not that I have any exclusive information.
Yeah. You just have a feeling.
I just have a feeling that this is probably going to be one that they really need to let simmer a little bit to make sure it comes out right. Because I know CD Projekt Red doesn't like to – they don't like to pull what you would see out of something like an Anthem or a Destiny. They finish their game and then launch it. Yeah. So I think we're probably going to get it coming in 2020.
That's fine if they want to wait for quality purposes. Look, I mean, I've bagged on Fallout 76. People are saying the same thing about Anthem. Red Dead Redemption. They delayed Red Dead Redemption 2 delayed their launch because they wanted to improve it. So, look, I can't hate on them for that. But I just like to know when. Do you know what I mean?
Right, for sure.
I want them to take their time and make the best game possible. But just give us, if it's not the end of this year, say early next year. Say spring of next year, whatever. Then we have that target, and then we know, okay, this game is not coming out this year. I don't have to be like, super anticipating. I can, think about other stuff.
Yeah, just reading. I feel what you're saying to Caboose about. You got a feeling like I'm just reading. Like if you look at the tweet, if you just read between the lines, if you just look at it a little closer, it seems like they're like, hush, like you'll get some E3 footage. We're going to give you the date, but it's not going to be next. It's not going to be this year.
But it's got to be. It's got to be before next E3. Like don't come to E3 or this year and then come back again. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like don't have a release date of like July of next year or something like that, or like the week of E3 and like just if you want it next year, fine. Just
Kingdom Hearts 3 here.
Yeah,
I think we'll get this game pretty early 2020.
Okay, all right. Speaking of Anthem, the game has now been out to the public. Who knows, for a week, 2 weeks if you got it early in the whatever
got
thing.
That EA pass.
Still don't know. So you two have been playing it. I know you guys Twitch streamed it for all the people who want to check out. We have a Twitch channel. We also have a Discord channel if you want to check that out. And we have a Collider Games channel on there that we talk about games. Anthem. How are you guys liking it? I know Caboose, you put up a review on there saying that it didn't quite, even though yes there are problems, that it didn't quite deserve all the negative reactions that it got. Where are you guys at with this? Are you guys still playing it? I mean, I know you guys are playing Apex Legends. I see Dorian, like when I turn on my Xbox, it's like Collider Games 2 is playing Apex Legends.
Okay, so sometimes I'm not even playing Apex Legends. I just leave it on because it's one of those where you can have multiple. Like if I go to Netflix, my Xbox will still be on, but the thing will be in the background. So I'm not necessarily playing Apex Legends. It just says Apex Legends because that's the last game. But yes, I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends. I have been playing some Anthem though. I haven't been playing as much because I do agree with some of the criticism Caboose gave. It does feel a bit repetitive, and I found myself not necessarily bored, but I was just like, I'd rather be playing Apex, but it's just like I could be doing something better.
Did you say that during the Twitch stream?
A little more with Apex.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been enjoying like Apex a bit more, but I have the time I have been put into Anthem. I do like what I was playing, but it got to a point where I was like, all right, there's only so much I can do now.
Yeah.
Is this repetitive too? Like when you're playing the levels, they're all the same?
It's like you're doing the same thing, going flying, then there's a bunch of little spawns that come out. You use your super abilities or whatever, use your guns, go around. I've been doing a little bit more of the freelancing mode, not just the story mode itself. So I've been doing like just flying around, killing people. It's super quiet. Playing with a couple people joining me randomly online. I haven't been doing any like co-op modes with Caboose since the Twitch. But
playing with co-op with Caboose, I bet you is a lot more fun.
Oh,
right?
Hell yeah! When you're actually playing with
people you know,
and we weren't even. It wasn't even. We weren't like listen. We didn't need to hear the sound or whatever. It was just me, Caboose, and then I don't think the other people could hear us because we were in a party chat. So when we were doing that and flying around and actually doing stuff together, that was enjoyable. Like not just when. So I think it's more fun when you're like doing co-op and playing with people you know and talking on the chat and stuff rather than just doing solo, trying to just play through it by yourself.
Yeah. No, there's definitely a lot of fun too. The thing that's why I said that the game was getting a little more flack than it deserved, was because there's a lot of enjoyment and entertainment to get out of Anthem. You know, you can have plenty of hours to enjoy yourself. If we were to sit down someone like Roka and have him play Anthem, I'm sure he would love the hell out of it. He would think so highly of it.
He liked the style and the gameplay. It's just he's an old man, so it was hard for him to figure out the controls. Like he didn't.
Right. I mean, when I had him play Red Dead, he still was a little wonky on the you know.
Okay, right.
But he had a good time though. But yeah, he was struggling with the controls.
The point that I'm trying to make is basically like to a casual audience, there is plenty of enjoyment in Anthem. It's just when I'm looking from the perspective of a hardcore gamer, from someone who this game is essentially intended for the long run. You know, they want someone like me who will dedicate endless amount of hours to get my character to the max level, to the max power, and that's who they want to cater towards when they talk about the longevity of the game. When they release a 90-day roadmap, it's for someone like myself who is intrigued about what other content I'm going to be getting out of Anthem after I'm done all the things there is to do within the base game. But the problem is, and this is the main point I made in my review. Honestly, I think the reviews would have been 10 times higher. People would have loved this game a lot more if then they, instead of giving us a 90-day roadmap, just delayed the game 90 days, had all that content in the game, and from the get-go, you have a whole plethora of things to do after you've completed the story, after you've gotten to the end game, and then we can use that as the jumping off point. Then we can say, all right, here's what we got coming later this year now for you guys. You have all this content in the game already. We're going to have weekly resets so you can redo a lot of these crazy missions and get new rewards out of them. And then this fall, big expansions coming or something. Instead, I'm sitting here like, I don't really got anything to do, and I don't know if I want to wait 90 days to have more things to do. So it's another case very similar to Fallout 76 where you were talking about, Dennis, where we were saying where a year from now, Anthem's probably going to be a really good game, but it should launch as such and not get to that point. I'm not a fan of the way these things are going, and it has to do a lot with those deadlines, very much to what that, you know, games like Cyberpunk 2077 are avoiding, or games like Halo Infinite are avoiding.
Or Red Dead 2.
Or Red Dead 2. Where rather than meeting that deadline, just take your time and launch the game in the best state it can possibly be in, because that will benefit the game's launch and it will benefit the amount of people who will come back to it. Because even if they had all that 90 days worth of content in the game and still a week from now I completed it all and I had nothing to do, at least I enjoyed the hell out of myself. And when new content comes, I will be returning to the game. Now, because of this bad taste in my mouth from Anthem, I don't know if I'm going to come back after I'm kind of done everything. I don't know if I'm going to have the motivation to want to play it again. So
interesting.
That's how I'm feeling about it a week in.
Okay. And with I'm not sure if you saw that like follow up email they sent out. Like it was just saying like, we're listening to the fans. We're trying to do more. So
and stuff to the Masterworks and everything.
So it's just it's interesting. Like, do you think they're being more responsive than the team at Fallout? Like, because you know, like people like Dennis and you have been like saying like what needs to be fixed with Fallout. Do you think they're trying like to trying to improve or not trying to just be more responsive than what the team in Fallout 76 has been doing.
Yeah, they're in a bit of a damage control state right now because first of all, there's a lot of bugs, a lot of issues with Anthem. In fact, I encountered the weirdest bug, which apparently is not completely uncommon, where I honestly thought my headset broke while we were playing Anthem. Dorian, you were there. We were playing it live. I thought my headset broke, but apparently it was just a completely random audio glitch with Anthem that screws with your actual headset. Like, I couldn't hear anything out of the headset, and I thought it was done. I thought, like, I couldn't hear gameplay coming out of it anymore. So I switched to my other headphones that I had, like a backup spare headphones that I had, and the same sort of feedback was being given there. So I was like, what the hell is going on? Turns out it's just a bug within the game. So a lot of bugs that I got to fix. The loading times are rough. There's some server issues, and hopefully they can do enough damage control to where they can still keep people playing and still keep people invested. But they have to be listening right now. Mm-hmm. It's really not up to them whether or not like they should be. If they want to make things right with the people that have paid their money for this game, they have to be listening to every single comment, every single bit of feedback that is coming in. And it's very much the same with what Bethesda was doing with Fallout 76. It wasn't up to them. You know, they launched a mediocre game. So in order to make things right, got to do some damage control and listen to the community that's playing your game.
You know what I find very interesting is both of them have that similar issue where if the game feels incomplete and people are upset, they don't feel like they're getting their money's worth out of the game. But I actually think that both games have the solution to each other. So Fallout 76 should have been more like Anthem, where it was a game where you play co-op with 3 other people and do missions together in the story and whatnot. Anthem should have been an open world game with a bunch of people in it that you could either fight against or with on these different missions. And I just feel like they should have swapped the way that they approach their games. But one last thing, Caboose, I think you're the only one who's played all 3 of these games.
Okay.
In terms of percentage of being complete as a game, let's say Red Dead Redemption 2 is a 100% complete game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does Fallout 76, Destiny, and Anthem rank percentage-wise on that completion scale?
Now, are we talking right now or at launch?
At launch. At launch? Yes.
Oh, boy.
Like, I would give Fallout 76 like a 35%.
Damn.
In terms of how far they needed to go in the game.
35% more.
No. 35, like 100% is what the game should be. They were only at 35%.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm thinking
they
needed to tweak the crap. They needed to do a lot with that game. They built the environment. They just did not. Yeah.
35%. All right. You're fully justified. Black Dude that was at GameStop throwing a fit for trying to get a refund. You're fully justified now. If I know it's a 35% game, hell no. All right.
No, I agree. I was thinking around that number as well for Fallout 76, around 30, 35, 40% in terms of completion. Anthem, I'd be a little more fair to, but still there's a lot to go. I'd say Anthem is somewhere around like 60.
Okay.
Whereas Destiny 1, the thing about Destiny 1 is even at least with Destiny a week after launch, they had a raid like introduced into the game, you know, and there was a story to play. And I mean, all that stuff's in Anthem too. So it's really hard. Anthem and Destiny 1 are very neck and neck.
Okay.
Honestly, in my personal opinion, I would rank Destiny 2 as less complete of a game at launch than Destiny 1.
Wow.
The reason that I would do that is because when Destiny 2 launched, it was coming off of the success of Destiny after they had finally done right on everything. They introduced a ton of new content. By the end of Destiny 1, if you got the kind of Game of the Year edition that included all the DLC, that is one hell of a game. You had, I can't even remember how many raids were in the first Destiny. There was a lot of raids, a lot of story to play through, a lot of loot to grind to get. Destiny 1, when all was said and done, was so good. And then Destiny 2 comes out, and like half of the things that were really good in the first game were not even there. And once again, you were just treading old ground where you run through the story, you maybe play a raid, and you're done. That's it. Then you just rinse and repeat week after week when you get the resets. So I'd say Destiny 2 would be more incomplete than Destiny 1 was at launch, and I'd give that something like a 55%, maybe even 60 as well, to keep it leveled with Anthem. But yeah, again, not a fan of these incomplete games that get better after a year. Let's start good and get better.
Exactly. So, all right, let's move on to Mortal Kombat 11. There's quite a few reveals this week, Caboose.
Yes.
What were they revealing?
So they officially revealed Johnny Cage joining the roster. We saw a trailer for him. One of the funniest fatalities I've ever seen in any Mortal Kombat game. Probably Johnny Cage's best fatality in any Mortal Kombat game. It's so good. And then towards they did their combat cast, which they went a little more in depth with Johnny, showed off some gameplay, showed off some gear for the character. Looks great. I'm really happy with the way his character looks so far in MK11. And then they also announced that there's going to be an online stress test for MK11 that will take place before the official closed beta. That is going to be from March 15th through to the 17th. The only issue is it's for US only. So, first of all, hope, Dorian, that you signed up, and I hope that we can get a code so that somehow, somewhere, at least, if we get our hands on this stress test, we can get some gameplay for you guys watching on the Collider Games channel. But yeah, so that's going to be happening March 15th through the 17th. Some people were a little confused about how this was working in that they were saying, well, is this the closed beta? Absolutely not. This is simply a weekend stress test to just test out the servers. So if you do get access to it, you're probably going to notice that there are a lot of bugs, maybe a lot of issues in terms of online connectivity and everything. So don't judge the game because of that. It's just this is like a really early demo that you get to play of it. And then on March 28th, the official beta, the closed beta for Mortal Kombat 11 starts, and that'll be for people who pre-ordered the game. So that's going to be great. I'll be in PAX East again. I'll be in Boston around that time, but I am going to bring my PlayStation with me so that I can play some of the beta and maybe get some recorded footage for the channel. And then at the end of the Combat Cast, they announced that next week, or I guess in a couple of days from now, we are going to have another Combat Cast where we're going to see some gameplay for Kano and someone else, apparently. Something else is going to be shown. So we might get another character reveal.
Okay. And this Mortal Kombat 11 releases April 23rd.
Yep.
3 days later, Avengers Endgame comes out. Look at that! Look at that 1-2 punch for both of you guys.
Yes,
it's gonna be a lot.
April's gonna be a huge month. Mortal Kombat 11, Endgame, Shazam.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot going on in April.
Shazam.
Yeah, we're shooting comic book shopping with Zachary Levi on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Yes,
that's sweet.
Yeah. So he's gonna be talking about Shazam. What else was gonna bring up in terms of Mortal Kombat? Oh no, I just want to say in a general aside, when you said like pre-order demos, like if you pre-order something you get access to the demo, that makes much more sense to me, and I'm fine with that versus the whole pay a subscription BS to purchase a game early.
Listen,
you know?
Let's be honest. Most of the people out there who are a lot smarter will just pre-order to get the code and then cancel their pre-order. You know, so just get your code, download the beta, and then you can just cancel your pre-order if you want to. You know,
you want to if you think the game sucks or something like that.
That's good. Yeah.
All right. That's it for news topics. Oh wait, what you got? What you got?
Just one more, because we can't go without acknowledging the new Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay, go for it.
So so they announced the next gen Pokemon game, got me all hyped. This is the main reason I'm getting Nintendo Switch. This is the only this is.
What about Marvel Alliance 3?
Okay, yeah, that too. But this is the main one, because I've played every Pokemon game since I even shelled out to get a Nintendo 3DS so I could play Sun and Moon. Yeah, I know. No. So I played Sun and Moon. So this is finally like I thought Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu were going to be the ones to get me in. But after I played with Wendy, I was like, it's not worth it. I'm good with that. But this one, we got 3 new starters. So when is
this coming out?
It's later at the end of this year.
Okay.
So by the end of this year, I will have a Nintendo Switch for sure. Probably for Marvel Ultimate Alliance. But we got the 3 new starters. They kind of look like the 3rd generation Trico, Cyndaquil, all of them. But we got Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sabi. And my boy, I'm getting Scorbunny as mine. Let me know in the comments which starter Pokemon you're going to get. Caboose, do you play Pokemon at all?
No.
All right.
So Caboose's face is probably like mine.
I'm being judged hard probably right now.
God damn it.
Because I don't...
You got to get it because you're gonna get Marvel Alliance. You got to get. Yeah. So
a majority of my excitement from Pokemon right now is coming from Detective Pikachu,
which a new trailer came out, right?
Yes, and it was so good. And it's actually making me want to play Pokemon games.
Dude, Pokemon Detective Pikachu is based off of a Detective Pikachu video game. So, and I could see them throwing the Nintendo version onto the Switch just to hype up the movie. So, get it while you can. So, but yeah, that's your little Pokemon update I just want to give for the fans out there.
All right, so let's move on to Twitter questions. What do we got?
All right, so we're already talking about Mortal Kombat. Let's stick to that.
Okay.
Ganellian asks, what character would you like to see as a DLC character in MK11? My pick is Candyman.
Oh, we're talking like a guest character then?
Yeah.
Okay. Ash from Evil Dead.
That
would be dope.
Ash vs. Evil Dead. All right. Michael Chiklis. Just as Michael Chiklis.
Oh man, Michael Chiklis in that rubber suit from the thing.
From the thing, yeah. The Michael Chiklis has a thing.
Have they done the Alien from Alien yet?
They did.
Okay.
Yeah. Alien and Predator were in MKX, as well as Leatherface and Jason.
All right. What's next?
The Amazing Web asks, what game do you desperately want to see made? I would like to see a DC Universe online type of game, but in the Marvel Universe. Oh, so Caboose, did you ever play that? Like where you could like create your own?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Well, I guess they technically had something like that with Marvel Heroes, if anyone remembers that. But I don't know. I mean, so what's the overall question? Sorry.
What game do you want made, basically?
Yeah.
Okay, and I guess if we're talking from the superhero genre, I think The Flash could have a super cool game made for him. I would also love to see a Marvel fighting game, very similar to what we have with Injustice. I know we have Marvel vs. Capcom, but I'm talking more of just a straight-on fighter like a Street Fighter or a Tekken or Mortal Kombat or Injustice in the vein of using the Marvel characters and stuff. I think that would be cool.
Dope. I would like, speaking in the Marvel universe, I'm thinking I would like to see a Black Panther game, maybe a Doctor Strange game. That would get trippy, mind-boggling. I think that would be dope to explore as a video game. What about you, Caboose? I mean, Dennis.
I mean, he's not limited to superhero, right?
No, he's not.
Anything.
Okay,
this is the game I want. I want BioWare to go back to their roots and do Knights of the Old Republic 3. Which is funny and ironic because at the time that they did Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, they were not owned by EA.
Oh.
And then now they're owned by EA, which has the Disney license, and they're not making that game. So I want BioWare to make a true, because back in the day they had that the fighting mechanism was a fake. It was like it made it try to look like it was real time fighting, but it wasn't. It was actually turn based. But later with Mass Effect and Dragon Age, it turned into a real time action adventure RPG. So I want them to do a brand new Knights of the Old Republic 3 game.
Okay. All right.
That in an open world Game of Thrones game done by CD Projekt Red would be the game of the decade.
Yeah.
Damn. All right. The next question is from Max Z Goof. He asked, "What is the best game /series per the 3 big systems? It has to be an exclusive to that system."
Oh, exclusive.
Yeah.
Oh,
exclusive. The best.
Original Xbox, Halo 2 for sure for me. PlayStation 1, Metal Gear. I'm not as experienced with the PlayStation.
Bro, we're not talking about each system.
Just each franchise.
Each
right? Like which franchise is the best? That's only exclusive. So Last of Us, Uncharted, Halo, Gears of War.
Okay. Yeah.
What else? Mario. I'll probably go with Halo. Yeah. When I think about it, because most of my other favorite games are third-party games that are on both platforms. So I would go Halo. I can't think of any other ones.
Yeah, if we're thinking I'd probably have to go Halo for me as well. Halo or God of War. Those are both really, they're up there, but more so Halo for me.
What's for you, Dorian? Uncharted?
Probably, or the last. So I read the question as like you answer for one per. So it's what's
per
the best?
System?
Yeah, per system. So I was gonna say The Last of Us for for Sony.
Yeah, technically the second one hasn't come out yet, so it is a franchise. True. You haven't played the second one yet. So.
Damn. All right, Uncharted then maybe Spider-Man, but we're getting more Spider-Man games. For Nintendo, for me, it'd probably be either Super Smash or Pokemon. And then for Xbox, I can't answer that because I haven't played really any of the exclusives yet. So I'm blanking on that one. But
Nintendo.
Yeah, I would probably go Super Smash Bros. As well. That has brought me a lot of fun in the many years that the thing is I've never really owned a Nintendo console. I've always had friends who have owned one. Yeah. Apart from like the really older ones, like the NES stuff. But like when it came to the Wii and then the Wii U and the Switch, that stuff, I never owned one. But I played a ton of it. A lot of my friends had them. So that's where I got most of my enjoyment. And a lot of times we would just end up playing whatever Smash Bros. Game was out at the time. So
you didn't have to go through that phase where you accidentally like throw one of the Wii remotes at your siblings or anything like that. So you didn't miss out on much. I got in trouble for that shit.
For Nintendo, I'd say the original Mario games, I guess.
Okay.
Just because that's what I remember. In PlayStation, probably Uncharted.
But this one is also from the Amazing Web. He asked, do you think Fortnite will survive this Apex wave off the sole fact that so many children play it and it got so big? Or do you feel like the older crowd are playing Apex and leaving Fortnite behind?
Let me talk about this quick. Because it was actually a news topic that I forgot to put in. They revealed that. Hold on, let me grab this real quick. Where the hell is this? Fortnite revenue down 50% since December.
Yeah.
So, it's not all Apex Legends, but that's got to be contributing to it. So
right, but it is since December. So yes. Apex came out in February.
Yeah. So it's been dropping month over month in January. So who knows if how much of there's definitely got to be some sort of effect from Apex Legends. We just don't know how much. So how can it fend it off? I don't know, because right now everyone's just talking about Apex.
Yeah.
In all fairness, so because I'll play devil's advocate. First of all, I love Apex more than Fortnite now. I've played enough of Apex to be like, Apex gives me way more enjoyment than Fortnite does. But based on the numbers that I've been keeping an eye on here, Fortnite is still a juggernaut.
Oh yeah, isn't it like 100, 200 million installed base or something like that?
And it's been getting more views lately than Apex. A lot of that has to do with the fact that the new season of Fortnite just launched, so people are jumping back into the game right now. They fixed a ton of issues that people have had with Fortnite. A lot of issues have come with in the launch of Season 8. I'm hoping they're going to get to work on fixing that soon. But Fortnite has still been doing just fine. And per the point made in the actual question, Fortnite's still going to survive and be as big as it is for a very long time because of the fact that it very much caters to a younger audience. Apex is still only rated T for teen, so a lot of kids could be jumping in and playing that as well, and that wouldn't be an issue. But you can just see, based on the aesthetic and the art style of the two games, that Apex is leaning more towards, teenagers, young adults, kind of 18 to 20 area, whereas Fortnite is trying to be for the younger generation. And at the same time, there are plenty of people who are older who find enjoyment in it as well. So yeah, Fortnite is still going to survive. Fortnite's not going anywhere. It's doing just fine. It's just now there's some competition. There's legitimate competition, and that is only a good thing.
What do you think, Dorian?
I kind of agree, but I'm kind of biased because I'm all Apex.
You're all Apex. All the cards are.
Yeah.
I'm like Team Apex for like that's probably my favorite Xbox game right now. I don't touch Fortnite at all. So I agree with you. I think Apex is skewered more. It has a more older audience, so I think that's why a lot more people are playing. And just because it's a fun ass game, and it's something refreshing that we haven't seen from the Fortnite.
Right.
Because I think you touched on the last one. It's kind of more of I found myself when I did play the Black Ops 4 play the Black Ops 4 Battle Royale mode. I enjoyed that more than playing the Fortnite, even though I was particularly trash at that. I still had a better time because I was more familiar with the game mechanics from that type of shooter mode. So that's why I think I'm more drawn towards Anthem. I mean not Anthem, Apex rather than Fortnite.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's it, guys. That's our episode this week of Collider Games, the podcast. All right, Dorian, where can people find you?
Guys, you already know where you can find me at Twitter, Dorian Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is better than The Office, I'm telling you. And you can find me on Instagram at Dorian Parks.
Caboose, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK, telling people why The Office is 100% better than Parks and Rec, and right here on the Collider Games channel.
Yeah, and you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/ColliderGames. Also, find us on the Collider Factory podcast feed every single week. Also, check out our Twitch channel and also our new Discord channel as well. So until next time, see you guys later.